Welcome to the PharmaSource podcast.
Digital collaboration between pharma companies and their contract manufacturing partners will be a key part of the future of outsourcing, and indeed is here today in pockets. Today's episode is an interview with Paolo Giudici, a CMC and supply chain professional who leads partnerships and external supply digital programs for Johnson & Johnson. Paolo, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me here.
Pleasure. Before we get into it, it'd be great to start with an overview of your career experience to date and how you got to doing what you are today, please.
Sure. So I started my career back in the days as technology transfer manager at CMO, and also did some business management there in small and large molecule CMO. And then I moved over to R&D. Where I work for Actelion Pharmaceuticals as a CMC leader in drug product development. And after that, I moved more towards supply chain role, external supply, external manufacturing role. And I took different responsibilities in large molecule and vaccines. I took part of the COVID-19 vaccines task force at Johnson & Johnson, dealing with external partners, setting up new relationships and new collaboration for the manufacturing of COVID-19 vaccine.
Which must have been a quite intense period, I imagine.
Yes, absolutely. That was a very intense and very time critical. Of course, we were supplying the vaccine to a very, very large base of population. And we had to quickly set up and have capacity to manufacture our vaccine and deliver it to the people in need.
Was that a completely new facility which you set up?
Not a completely new facility in my case, but rather a new relationship, a new CMO for Johnson & Johnson. So we had to go basically leveraging on previous network strategy and reaching out to a broader base of CMO, and then make a very quick selection process to make sure we had capacity. Was as well a fight for capacity. Let me pass the term.
Everyone who was involved with this over that period that I speak to, they talk about it actually being a really good example of how fast the pharma industry can move when it absolutely needs to, when it's business critical to move quickly. What was your experience in that in terms of speed? And are there any lessons from moving that quickly which could be applied to now?
I think the essence is to start from the end, right? From the need. So how critical is the need, and probably in that case, so the COVID vaccine, so the COVID pandemic was probably the trigger. But as you said, the pharma industry, including, let's say, partners and CMO and CDMO, can move faster than what we typically see. I think one important aspect is how regulators allow in certain conditions. We have seen processes that typically took, let's say, multiple years being done in a matter of months, right? So I think it's significant difference there. On the other end, there's also an important aspect was the externalization of services from pharma is on the hype since a few years, and the fast reaction from CMO and CDMO making the capacity available is as well crucial.
Thank you. certainly over the last couple of years, your focus has become much more on the digital side of CMC. It'd be great to understand what's the driving factor behind that shift of focus. Why have you become focused on the digital programs at J&J?
So at J&J, we have a long-term digital transformation program that is running for supply chain specifically. One aspect is the how we set up the digital collaboration for the external manufacturing space. So when I'm saying external manufacturing, I'm including from chemicals, from small molecule to large molecule to potentially advanced therapy, gene therapy, CAR T, and potentially beyond, meaning the entire external supply, external manufacturing ecosystem at J&J is in scope. And we basically realized that to remain competitive and stay in the best supply chain in the world, we need to really start a digital transformation journey. And the external manufacturing piece is basically part of this transformation. And personally, I found this extremely interesting for me. So putting my technical experience and relationship management experience and the business experience all together and go a bit closer to the technology that is always very interesting, and see how we can better collaborate with our partners, and at the end delivering value to both sides of the relationship, basically.
Digital transformation is one of those topics which always feels very big and nebulous. In concrete terms, what does that mean for you, maybe over the next 12 months or so? I mean, are there specific initiatives within that, particular priorities which you're very focused on at the moment? And any pilots or anything that you're able to share around that would be really interesting, just to sort of explain a bit more about how you define this journey.
As said, we just finished our 4 years initial program focus on external manufacturing. Digital transformation, of course, is much broader, and we already focus on part of it, so supply chain and external manufacturing. Our focus remains on the adoption, so basically increasing the adoption from our users and the partner users. This is a key aspect. So today, if you look in 12 months from now, we are in a consolidation phase. So we want to consolidate what we have done so far and remain. The second aspect is remain open, meaning.
So consolidation in terms of the suppliers you work with?
Exactly, with consolidation of the technology. So we make sure that everybody is confident with that, using it, extracting value for us and from our CMO. So we basically deploy technology for almost 4 years. Now it's a year of consolidation. The second aspect is more related to external, meaning collaboration with other pharma companies and a broader CMO, to see if we can move to a definition of standards. So today there is pretty much, so the pharma industry compared to other industries is not standardized from this point of view. If a sponsor like a pharma company or a biotech tries to have a digital collaboration with the CMO, they pretty much need to start a discussion from scratch. In other industries, there is much more standardization. Processes are standardized, and even technology providers knows what they have to deliver. So there is an effort to influence, let's say, industry association to also, let's say, go with standards of digital collaboration between CMOs, sponsors, and technology providers.
What would those standards ideally cover?
Top line in supply chain will be the whole supply chain processes from order to pay. Technology transfer, for example, which metrics are we using when setting up technology transfer? And then you have a couple of additional points. One is the quality, the quality aspects of it. And of course, last but not not the least is the manufacturing part.
Mhm.
How can I say? The some shop floor data coming from the shop floor. Which kind of data are typically needed, and which type of frequency and so on.
Mm. If you look at the, say, the last 4 years or so that the program's been running, within that, which of those technologies that you've been trying have been making the most real world impact? So if you were to say, of all these different experiments and pilots we've been running, these are the ones which are making the most difference, what would they be?
I would say, I mean, certainly, the digital collaboration suite for transactional parts. So we basically, in general, let me talk now in general, not J&J specific, but rather what we try to achieve is having basically a secure connection between the CMO and the sponsor and the pharma company, in a way that the two systems that we are working on, I'm talking about ERP systems, right? SAP or similar system that are, let's say, connected in a secure way on a certain set of products, and then the transactional part there, from orders to forecast to visibility on inventory to where a given batch is in production, and down the road to delivery and payment. So this is the transactional part, and this is achieved with specific, let's say, software that are solutions that are available. A second aspect is the actual visibility on manufacturing floor. So that means that while the CMO is manufacturing a given batch, we have seen this in the area of biologics and large molecule drug substance. These processes are taking days. There's a visibility, almost a real-time visibility on what is happening on the shop floor, even if the person the experts on the sponsor side are not physically present on the shop floor, so they can basically monitor and advise and creating models and realize that process is drifting outside certain conditions, and let me pass the term, rescue a batch or intervene to avoid massive losses. Yeah. So kind of, let's say, deliver value by saying, hey, there is X amount of batches, X amount of dollar value in material that have been delivered instead of wasted. But those are the two, let's say, value drivers. Yeah.
Thank you. If you were to sort of benchmark the pharma industry versus other similar industries, automotive, aviation, and others, where would you say pharma generally is in terms of digital maturity? How far along would you say we are?
It seems what is missing in pharma, and here it's bear with me, it's a relatively new territory for me as well. It seems that pharma missed the basic digital collaboration standards on what type of processes we want to collaborate. I think most of them are known, but standards and how to collaborate on those are missing, while say, automotive or aerospace, even food. So they kind of work on standard in a more standardized way. Potentially a next big area of focus for pharma. Yeah.
Given that not everyone is fully embedding digital processes into their workflows, how are you seeking to overcome cultural resistance to these types of digital transformation journeys? What's your approach in terms of change management?
I think change management and people managing the change for people, including communication, is a key aspect, and so it's a key lessons learned. I think the first aspect is realizing that if it starts from a sponsor, from a pharma company, and goes all over to external, so meaning a CMO or a CDMO, there should be a common intent. So even before the change management and communication, there should be let's say a contract in place for digital collaboration, or at least an agreement, like a written agreement that both companies have basic intentions to go down that road. So, and then of course this starts from management and goes, and of course is presented at more business and operational and tactical levels. Another aspect is, of course, to approach on the value delivery. So make people understand what this means. There is a lot of let's say skepticism or fear that technology, automation of processes will take jobs. So it's not an easy task. The reality is that the skills are changing. So the skills that are required to interact and to be applied are changing. It's not that there will be less jobs, probably there will be different skills required for those jobs. In general, the digital collaboration will take away repetitive tasks, will automate tasks that are today very repetitive, and will free up time for the people, hopefully, to think about more critical or strategic, or maybe even advancing the technology.
Cost obviously is an important factor in this as well. When you're working with your external suppliers, when you're working with CDMOs, how do you help create a business case which encourages, incentivizes them to invest?
That's a tricky one. Not every CMO can say, well, what's in it for me? So we work a lot on the engagement part. So that part we work on both more on, let's say, non-dollar value type of benefits.
Such as what, Paolo? What kind of benefits are they?
I mean, freeing up time and also give them enhanced visibility, right? So because CMO can also see, for example, forecast, inventory, orders that are coming. So they're also trying to have visibility towards their part of the business with pharma. So it's a mutual thing. And then they also want to be competitive, in the sense that pharma starts putting the digital capability of a CMO into a selection process. Meaning, if the two of us tomorrow, we found our CMO and we are like paper-based, we have zero chances to be selected for or awarded an agreement, because that will be like at the same level. So the digital capabilities will be at the same level of capacity, SMEs, whatever, reputation, other clients. So the selection process encompasses and will encompass the digital capability.
Mhm.
The CMO, if they're not ready, their problem, and this probably it's a bit too early to say publicly, but the problem is that they face different clients with different technology. SAP Ariba, can be TraceLink, can be One Network, Blue Yonder, and they all, and the CMO. I was talking with a large CMO last week, and they say, "Well, guys, good, it's another platform, and you're asking our people to log in another platform." And the platform are not talking to each other, so there is no. I think the IT folks they talk about interoperability, so like
Yep.
would. So this is a bit where the standards would help, and then the next level is system integration. So J&J user work in the system. Patheon, Catalent, Fetter, Fuji, Samsung users working their system, and there is an highway in the middle. So no one logs into none of the technology provider systems anymore.
Yep.
But this requires system integration, which is not a new thing. It's like a 30 years old thing. But in pharma, again, because of the standard, every time we start like discussing standards. So what do we want? How do we want to receive my PO? How do you want the tolerance? How do you want the forecast? So every time it's like a broken record.
And then finally, if you were to give one piece of advice for someone who is seeking to make a change, to move their company in a more digital direction, what would that be? What would you say to someone who's struggling to make things align and make an impact?
I would say maybe number one is to reach out to companies who went through that. It's not an isolated case anymore. So maybe a few years ago it was really difficult. Today, many of the large CMOs, they have been in contact with a number of pharma companies already, and they got already introduction to this type of program. So number one is connect, discuss, get into industry associations, and ask questions. The second is, let's say, be conscious that it's a long journey. So don't dream about super fast execution, even if there should be a time-bound type of program or project. And third is performing a proper technology scouting. So reach out to somebody who owns the technology piece in a company, and go out and going out and make a proper selection of the technology partner.
Paolo, great advice. Thank you for your time today. Pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure for me too.
Experience the future of contract manufacturing at CDMO Live 2025. Join us at the World Trade Centre Rotterdam on May the 7th and 8th, 2025 for an exclusive event that brings together the sharpest minds in biopharma outsourcing. For 2 days filled with market insights, best practices and partnering. Early bird tickets are now available, so head to cdmolive.com to download the agenda and to book your ticket.